All right. Hello, YouTube, and going live on Facebook, going live on Instagram right now as well. So I'm looking forward to this one. Thank you, everyone who is jumping in here on different platforms. Welcome to Startup Business Q&A, episode 95, and yet more kits this week. Every week seems to be having new bits of tech to work with. So now there's a load of cameras here across the platform. So look, thanks everyone for jumping in, everyone who's jumping in here on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. And thanks. Wow, I've got so many questions today. So there's quite a lot to get through. I will be running an incentive here. I've done this a couple of times in the past, and I've not done it yet this year. It's been so great to do this in 2017. I think did it 2016 as well. And I think for one of the people I work with, it turned into a really good investment because I ended up actually putting some money into the company too. So basically, a bit later on, I'm going to be talking about an investment, or not an investment. I'm going to be talking about a opportunity where you can get 2 months of consulting with me. So 2 months of coaching, if that's interesting to you. And the incentive will be for 2 winners. And that will be 30 days straight of working together. I'm really looking forward to the winners of that. It's been great. Like I said, in the past, when I've done this, one of the companies actually I ended up investing in properly. It's a really good way of doing due diligence. And so there we go. Again, thank you everyone jumping in. Define Beauty 07. I am Kent Darza. Thank you very much for joining. Panos, Peter, Ian, Jansen, Husnain, all of you jumping in is really kind of you to do so. And happy Monday to you all. So we are talking all things Q&A related to entrepreneurship, startup businesses, and business in general today. So there's no particular theme other than questions in that space. If you have a question on startup businesses, on your business, or one you feel that other people need to be listening into, hear the answer of, then of course add that in as well. I'm just going to check a few more people coming online. Can everyone just let me know where they're calling in from or dialing in from or listening from? Obviously on the podcast, you can of course pop in your location there, but just comment underneath where exactly you're based. I'd love to see who actually is here. What's fun is that I do this in the UK, right? It's 1 p.m. here. And often it's the US who actually are here more than anywhere else. Although Zach Houston, I see you on Instagram. Hello. I think you're in the Isle of Man, if I'm right. You're a regular. Nadine, hello. Orbison, hello. And so many of you jumping on over on YouTube as well. Let's get started. Tell me where you're based as well. Let me know your location. So I've got a load of questions here. I've got 3, 6, 9 questions. So let's get started. And I'll release the information on the incentive very soon. So you get an opportunity to have a bit of consulting with me. 2 people can win that. So first question is Daniel Nunes. Can you discuss tap routing and how to use incentives for compliance and reprisals for clients who don't follow directions? I keep running into newbies who are just the way I started. Just the way I started. Lots of dreams and ambition, but short attention spans. What can I do to channel their energy without micromanaging and enabling? I'm guessing from the question that you're an MLM, Daniel. Apologies if it's something I'd missed. Daniel, hello. I've just seen you jumped on there on Facebook. So yeah, great question there. Tap rooting, for those who don't understand, it's taken from a kind of a botanical term. The tap root, of course, from a tree, the main root that keeps the plant stable. The short version is, in multi-level marketing, if you're at the top, if you're the main guy or lady, and you're and instead of growing, say, a team of 3, and then each of them has a team of 3, and so on to kind of grow your whole group, the idea is to add someone and then help that person recruit another and then another underneath. So you've got this long hierarchy. And what you're then doing you're trying to do that as rapidly as possible. You're trying to look for the guy who's really strong in that space. Judy Fox, thanks for joining in. Ads90, thanks for joining in. Blue Light Dental, hello there. Everyone here jumping in on different platforms. But the thing about this, if I can be really clear, I've not run an MLM myself, but I've helped people who are doing them because I think there's some really important basics here. So my view is this: you can sell your product and you can recruit. I would strongly urge you put loads of time and effort into recruiting because that's where you can scale quickly. My view is this: tap routing makes a lot of sense. If you have a load of people in a line, what you should be doing is going all in on helping them to get big, helping them to grow their teams, and helping them to get the person underneath the ladder. I think to try and encapsulate all of your question, Daniel, in one, because it is quite a large one otherwise, my strong feeling is that if you work your nuts off to help your team get their wins, then that will really help. Okay, so I think then you're writing here that it's for a non-profit, but it's the same principle. If you're growing a team and you're helping them grow their teams, you need to disproportionately be doing all the work to actually help them as much as possible. Why is this? Why should you be doing all the work? Why shouldn't they? It's because the problem we have is so many people are looking for that person who's going to be great in their team. But the problem is that they're waiting for that person to step forward and put the effort in. If you inspire by doing the work, more of the work yourself, and really going all in to help people, you get so much back. And let me give you an example of this. In 2004 into 2005, I became a sales manager, and I was managing a team of 6 or so people. And the thing I remember so well is when I got brand new starters who were just starting the job, what I did was I worked my face off to get them success as soon as possible. I'm talking about literally this is we were selling internet marketing over the phone at the time. I would jump onto their phone calls, close the client for them so they could see how it's done, so they would get all the figures and all the commission. If that was happening within a couple of days, think about how inspiring it is for a new person. Think how much buy-in you get as well. And as a result, you've got someone there who really wants to give. So the more you put into the people, the more you get out. And the problem I see with people building teams is they are looking for someone who is innately great and someone who's going to kind of hit the ground running. It's a mistake. It's a mistake, because what you're looking for is you're looking for someone who is naturally going to do loads of extra work and work extra hard. I think it's a problem, this, because it's far better to push first and help people out, because as a result, you'll then get someone who really steps up because they want to, but also you get people who might have stepped up and will do because you've invested in them. Otherwise, they just sit back and there's less impetus for them to kind of be part of the team. I just think you should inspire by working hard for the people working with you. That means when you need them, they will really step up. It really makes a difference. Okay, so that's my kind of answer in a nutshell. Give them the wins, help them get their wins themselves, do their job with them, but kind of almost for them to help them out. And what happens then is they're like, wow, I feel so good. They start almost feeling indebted in a way. These people then work so much harder and you get the best from them then. That's the way to do it. I built a team more recently working with some of my products, and I was constantly helping them out, helping them close their deals so they got some commission. So these guys were making thousands of quid each month, and the gratitude was so great that I got so much more from them, you see. So that's the thing. So that's an important question, and thanks so much for that, Daniel. I think it's very applicable in MLM, even though it's not directly for you. So thanks a lot. Everyone who's jumping in there, hello on YouTube, Facebook, and on Instagram. Do let us know where you're calling from. I think there's a couple of people in the States so far. Claudia Vanity Fair, you've been amazing on my Instagram. Thank you very much. So much engagement there. I really appreciate it. So thanks so much for coming in here. Just Jess and Bullying now as well. Nice to see you. Also a regular here. I'm very pleased to have you on the stream again. Let's go on to the next question. I will reveal the information for the 2 winners or how to win the incentive for 2 people very soon. Next up is Emerald Griffin. I seriously need good follow-up advice for my B2C business. I have a lot of commitments, but prospects don't order on the committed date. So this is a combination of things. Obviously, I don't know what's going on specifically, what you're selling and so on, but if I can be general enough. Hello, Mitch. Nice to see you jumping in here. The thing that's clear when people don't get a prospect who's, say, on the phone or something to convert, when they've said that they're going to, is 2 things. Firstly, you've not sold them well enough, and there's a reason why. And there's also not enough closing down or nailing down of next actions points. Bottom line is this: if someone is sold on the value of working with you and buying your product, which starts with trust and comfort around working with you, you'll move to a place where that person naturally wants to step forward and do the buying themselves. Okay, you shouldn't need to nudge them. They should be saying things like, so how do we do this? You know, it's because you've got buy-in. So that's a really important start point. Maybe you need to check, Emerald, whether or not you're actually doing well enough in the actual selling themselves, because it might be that someone's going, think about it. If they say, yeah, sure, I'll buy it, no problem, and you think that's good enough, of course you're not going to get a sale. You need them to be convincing you that they're convinced. But the second thing is nailing them down. If they say they're going to buy by a certain date, you just got to make sure you stay close to these people. I mean, if I ended a call with someone, I would be straight onto a message, maybe a voice message, maybe even a video message. Hey, I did it earlier today. I was having a chat with someone, and then straight afterwards, it was great to speak to you. Thanks so much. And then talked about our next action points. Looking forward to, whatever the next thing is. Okay. And then maybe your runway before you get the actual close is going to be a few days for whatever reason. Don't just go quiet and hope it will sort out. You need to walk this guy over the line. So it's often wise to actually take your time, stay in touch, and message the person, not, hey, are you going to buy it yet? Hey, are you going to buy that? But stay close, because there might be a relationship there that is important to build, because the bottom line is, unless you can get familiarity with that person you're selling to, they're never going to be bought into. And often someone gets sold on the hype. They're not going to buy instantly. Sometimes you need to just keep them warm in a way. This isn't a Machiavellian approach. This is actually quite valuable guidance in general for working with people in business. The person buying from you, and this is the takeaway, if you like, the person buying from you isn't interested in the deal. You're interested in the deal. The person buying from you is interested in the relationship with your product or your service after the deal. Okay, so you need to make that person clear that after the close of the sale happens, they're going to get this wonderful world and journey and experience working with you. If it's all in on closing them off, they're going to feel like you're out just to get their cash. And that may be the case, but you certainly don't want to wear that on your sleeve, right? Because that will put people off. So that's an important way to look at it. Hopefully that helps. Thanks everyone jumping in. Wow, there's so many people messaging. It's wonderful. And yeah, absolutely, Daniel. It's the point after the sale that matters, because the buyer doesn't care about you getting your deal. The buyer cares about the relationship or the journey or the experience after the deal. Even if they desperately want the product, they're keen on what happens after they've bought it. Like if I want to buy a new TV, I don't care about the purchase moment. I care about the moment afterwards when I'm actually using it. That's what matters. Okay, so that's really important. Let's look at the incentive now. So I've done this a couple of times in the past, or several times in the past, and really simply, the incentive is this. And thumbs up if this sounds interesting. If it doesn't, no problem. Give me an angry face. What we've done is 30 days of consulting. All that is me working with you and your startup for 30 days. We'll be in touch. We'll have a phone call and probably 2 in the month. And every single day, we'll be in touch by at least email or message. And I'll be here as much as I can to add value and help you with your business. Okay. If that feels of interest to you, then I'm offering that to 2 people. I will announce in 24 hours. Okay. But if you're interested in it, all you need to do, and I'm doing it in 24 hours so that those listening on the podcast can still DM me, you need to go to facebook.com/richardmoore.official. So facebook.com/richardmoore.official. So you hook up with me there and send me a DM. You've got under 20 words, so 20 or under if you like, to tell me why you should win the incentive of 30 days consulting. That's it. All you have to do. And I will pick 2 people in the next 24 hours and I'll announce them on Facebook. So richardmoore.official. Join up with me there and let me know. So 30 days free consulting with me, no strings attached at the end. We can leave it there, and that doesn't have to be anything, and you don't pay anything for it, of course, as well. So if you're interested, then jump in, DM me 20 words or less why you should win, and tag someone if you feel that they may benefit from that. Hamza Larousi, thanks so much for jumping in here on Facebook. I know that you sent me a question, so let's answer yours next. My question to you, Richard, would be, what systems and daily habits have you implemented in your business that have helped you grow? Do you know why I love this question? It's really simple. I love this question, Hamza, because it allows me to show off that last week, for the first time of many, I really hope, I was fortunate enough to be in Forbes magazine. I'm absolutely thrilled that my good friend, John Uche, who wrote the article, decided to involve several great people, and I was involved in it. I'm very humbled by it. So if you haven't checked out, go to my Facebook profile or Instagram. Needless to say, I promoted it quite a bit because I'm really proud of it. But in that, I talked about a habit or hack called the when to-do list. And many of you know this already, but the simple version is that a to-do list is lacking a completion strategy. A to-do list is just a list of stuff to do, whereas the when to-do list is what you're going to do, so that list, but in addition, it's actual times in the day next to it as well. Okay, so what that is 10:30 cup of coffee, 10:38 make phone call to this guy, 10:51 do your YouTube content video or something, whatever it might be, but throughout the day. Then what you do is you're assigning time frames to the tasks. Okay, so that's one hack. The other one, because I can't go on all day because there's millions of them, but one other one that's been very well received, and obviously the when to do list has been the one that people have really loved, and it's on YouTube. If you want to look it up, there's a video which is, you just type in Richard Moore when to do list, it'll come up in YouTube. The other one is the SEL approach. So if you're taking notes, this is my approach to booking, like organizing my day. SEL is CEL, and C stands for customers and cash flow. E stands for essential, and L stands for lines of work. So what this is how I categorize and prioritize the things in my day I'm going to do. So the first things I set up to do, the things for me that are most important, are the cash flow and new customer, C, jobs. Anything or any opportunity where I can close a deal, bring on a new customer, or add cash flow to the business is something I should be doing first every day. You might think that's crazy because the E, the second level of stuff that I do after that, is essential tasks. You'd think essential comes first, but in my experience, you probably think this deep down as well. The E task, the essential tasks, aren't so like hair on fire important that you have to do them then and there. They'll probably keep. So what I do is I start my day with cash flow related so I can generate new income and bring in new customers, and then I tackle the essential tasks. Okay. The next level down is lines of work. So any other tasks that are necessary to be completed that day that are within the lines of my works, the kind of the work I do, so highly relevant to my work. Again, hop into YouTube and type in Richard Moore lines of work, and you'll see a video explaining this in detail, but they then come last. So anything else that's related to the business. Now, if there's something that falls outside of that, it just doesn't get done. If there's time for it, I might add it in lines of work. If it gets left to the point that it becomes urgent or essential, well, now it goes under E. Okay, it's as simple as that. So the CEL approach, in fact, that's on YouTube as well. So Richard Moore CEL, you'll be able to see that. So good question, Hamza. I really hope that helps. Another hack is have a nap. Seriously, if you work hard, and look, if anyone's deluded that being an entrepreneur or running your own business means you don't have to work as hard, it's ridiculous. You probably work harder. You work very, very hard, but the reality is you tend to do it against something you're enjoying or have as a point of a lot of fun. So that's why it's worth doing, and so that's tiring, right? So look after yourself. So sleep. I usually have a nap in the afternoon, say 10-15 minutes. I read a bit beforehand and just chill out. I've got a bed in my office and just have a little bit of a nap, and then I can carry on. That means you can go from 5 till 12 if you need to. 12 in the morning, of course. But yeah, I hope that helps, Hamza, and thanks very much. Big shout out to everyone again. Thanks everyone on YouTube, on the podcast, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Thumbs up if this makes sense so far. The when to do list and the CEL approach. Hope that's useful. And just to reiterate, if you're interested in 30 days free consulting, normally this is a few £1,000. I work with a lot of startups and I work with a lot of multi-million-pound businesses. If you'd like me to work with you side by side on your business for 30 days for free, no strings attached, then I'm offering 2 people the chance to have that. And that is based on the next 24 hours, you getting me a DM on Facebook, simply saying in 20 words why you should win. If you don't care, no problem. But if you'd like to, then jump in, please. I hope that makes sense. Next question is from Nadine Levert Langlois. And Langlois, I would love a breakdown of what you consider an appropriate amount of time spent on social media, networking, calls, content creating, etc. per day or per week. It's a very good question. The difficult thing is all of it's important, right? Which is probably why this kind of question exists. It is tough because it's based on what's needed. And the reality is all of this is needed. I think the main thing, maybe another way of looking at it. Hello, Matt Tam. Thanks for jumping in, man. Maybe the way to look at it is that there should be no fat. All right. Technically I'm on social media a lot, as in I have a platform in front of my eyes all the time. Right now I'm going to do an hour. I'm doing an hour on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at the same time. But can you see it's targeted use of social media? So there's no scrolling up inanely, like looking through nonsense. There's a targeted approach. There's a process there. Even as when my LinkedIn course comes out, which is so soon now, guys, the process of building community is very, very calculated. It's time spent, like you've got an hour or so focusing on building community. So having conversations, having time set aside to get into threads and comment on other people's posts and things like that. So important to get right, but you don't want to overdo it, because if social media and content generation isn't your main thrust, it's great for distribution and promotion of your stuff, but you probably need to be in the trenches actually doing the work as well. I would say the majority of my time, 70% towards 80% of the time, is actually fulfillment stuff. It's client related work. All right. I'm talking about being on the ground in London or over the phone, or helping people on a report or something in the middle of the night, working on a spreadsheet with someone to help build their business and doing the actual work itself. It's a delivery. Okay. That's the main thing. But in terms of what I would consider a program out of time, as much as you can spare until you've achieved your goal. And if it's the case that you're going to do well if you leverage social media, well, you need to be all in on it. But you need great production and content, well, then you need to jump on that too. It's very difficult. My best suggestion is apportion 2/3 of your time at least to delivery, so fulfillment of the actual service to your clients, and the rest of the time focus all in on a equally divided amount of time on things such as content creation, social media, and those kind of softer things. But making calls, networking, closing people, it's massive to start with, even. Okay. And then see which, where you need to put a bit more stock in one rather than another. That's one way of doing it. I do feel that disproportionately to start with, you should do your marketing, but really go all in on making sure that you're engaging with a community or an audience to try and leverage those first sales. It is what matters, because that's your oxygen for your company, getting that cash in the door. Okay, so that's my best answer for that, because we can go into detail. The best thing to do is analyze it case by case, Nadine. So DM me if you need more help on that. Next question, and by the way, if you have a question, you can ask one. It's not just ones that people have sent in. So do ask away on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube, no problem. Next question is from Shay Dawkins. Richard, I'm a self-awareness coach, but my talents don't stop there. Good for you. How do I effectively communicate my value by keeping it simple for a site visitor, I presume a website, to understand, yet not confine myself to self-awareness because my talents run deep and vast? This is so important, right? I work a lot of the time with sales teams, and what they have is so much knowledge of their product that it's actually impeding their ability to actually get anywhere because they were talking too much about what they do. So if you're taking notes, here's the way to look at it, okay? The outcomes of working with you should be on your site, okay? The knowledge that you have to share should be in your content. Right. So what I'm saying is, if you've got a YouTube channel, if you've got a Instagram feed or Facebook page or whatever, they are the places where you should have your content that flows people into where your knowledge is in your content, that flows people into your website. The website needs to focus on outcomes. Otherwise, what happens is people slam into this brick wall of text and knowledge and things like that, and it's just too much. And what happens is they get to the website, and now the convenience bias or the frictionless journey through your website to buy is being really, it's not working because you're getting too many things in the way. So it's my suggestion is focus on just the outcomes of working with you on your website, Shay, and your content is where you produce your knowledge for them. And then people, if they fall in love with the knowledge you have through your content, they'll jump onto your website, and then it's a very simple process to look at what outcomes there will be if they were to buy your services, and then of course take action against them. That's my view on it. And I know your question was much longer, but hopefully that helps. I think you've actually, so hopefully that helps. The next question is for Jesper Engel. What's your take on whether you should release content on a subject if you're not sure you're actually an expert on? I've been working with the subject for a couple of years. I know a lot more than most people, but I'm not sure I know more than the people who have been in the industry for 5 to 10 years. Sure, you have, of course. So I guess my question is, how confident or what level of expert should you be before you release content on a topic? This is not about the level of expert. This is about the level of audience you're targeting. Seriously, I think anyone who's imparting any advice or knowledge or guidance or positioning themselves as a consultant or guru or anything needs to be really clear on this stuff. So let's be really, I just want to be really direct about this. The level to which you're an expert is relative to the audience you're targeting. What I'm saying is, if I'm going to talk about sales funnels, online sales funnels, someone like Russ Brunson is seen as one of the top guys in the industry. He's positioned as an expert. He may know people that in his eyes, that he has a perception, are better or greater experts than he is, right? If that's the case, then he wouldn't feel in place by teaching these people. If it's experience we're talking about, which you bring up here, Jesper, you've been working in your space for a couple of years, other people for 5 to 10 years, sure, yeah, they probably are more an expert. I'm a really good expert in sales because I've had skin in the game for over 15 years. But there are other people who maybe been in sales for 30 years, and arguably they've just been in more battles and wars than I have, so they have more to draw from. Does it mean they're better? Well, that's down to other things necessarily, so ability in general, marketing, positioning, things like that. So all is to say, you've got to I've told this to someone recently actually, don't get hung up on if you're an expert or not. Focus on understanding who you're targeting. If you've got 2 years experience, Jesper, in playing the guitar, you're not going to be as good as someone who's world class, right? Who's been playing for 30 years. But for 2 years experience, you are a hell of a lot more of an expert than I am. So if you target people like me, if I wanted guitar lessons, now I've got this expert who I could actually buy from. If you target people who are at your level, so peers, or those who are above you, so experts, then of course you're going to probably come against a little bit of more resistance. More on this on the Monetize You course. Go to richardmoore.com for more information. But the point is clear, all jokes aside, it's really important people get this. It's so important that you understand that your position as an expert is fluid. It depends on the people around you. Target people who have less ability, now you're an expert. Target people with the same or more ability, you're not going to get anywhere. So that's the way you do it, yes. But I hope that helps. So the question of should I start, it's like, yeah, sure, but just target the right people. Only got 2 years, fine. Target people with zero experience. And they'll be like, wow, you know so much. It's like if I speak to someone about football, they'll know, if they're into football, they'll know within moments I know nothing about it because they don't care about football, right? But if I speak to someone who knows nothing, I might hold my own. I might think, wow, you're such an expert, but it's just relative. Okay, so I really hope that helps. Jesper, great question. Thanks so much. And give me a thumbs up if that helped. Right, just to remind people, just because a few people have jumped on since, the incentive is as follows. You've got 24 hours if you'd like 30 days of free consulting. So I will work with you on your business, okay, with you. Then you need to DM me on Facebook. So facebook.com/richardmoore.official. I almost forgot it then. And just send me a DM with what the reason why you should win the consulting. 2 people will win. You have 20 words maximum. If you go over 20 words, you just simply are out. And I'll announce it in 24 hours. Okay, so I look forward to hearing from you. We've done this, I've done this several times over the last couple of years. One instance that it was such a great company I was working with, I ended up investing in it and becoming a partner, so it was really good fun. But I'm interested in hearing what you guys come up with. If that's, of course, no pressure if you'd like to. So let's look at a couple more questions. Shani Luckman, all the way from over in Australia. I suppose a relevant question for me to ask would be, can you manage running a small business while working for someone else? And he puts in brackets, small business for me would be a real estate accommodation business with owned or mortgaged properties. Of course you can. Of course. Up until recently, I ran 3 businesses. Okay. And I know it wasn't working for someone else at the same time, but I was kind of doing a lot of work and I was absolutely doing it no problem. In addition to that, I was consulting whilst I was working as an employee at one point as well. So without question, the question isn't can you do it? It's are you going to be able to make it work? And that's down to can you manage your time? You know, you get in from your job at say 7 o'clock at night. If you really want to build your other business, well then you need to use up that time from 7 o'clock till the time you go to bed to make the most of it. It's up to you. The answer is yes, 100% you can. It's just a case of saying like, what things can I automate? What things can I outsource? And what things, how can I streamline them to make sure I'm not encroaching on the other hours of my day? And if you get to that tipping point where your side business is doing really well, think hard about when you're working on your business and when you're working on other people's businesses. I get it. Maybe working for an employer makes sense to get an income each month, but when your own business is doing well enough that can almost wipe its own face or pay you almost as much as the employer business, it might be worth switching the hours, going to a company, working for another company if you do need extra money, where your worst hours, the one when you're tired, working late at night, if you have to do a night shift, is being used for that company. And then the best hours of the day, the main ones, like now for me, for instance, is on your business. That's one way of looking at it. So that's why I look at it. Anna, hello. Thanks for jumping in. Umar, hello. Awaken the Greatness Within. Hello on Instagram. Nice to see you here. Daniel, thank you for posting the link. Juan, hello. Jesper, thanks for the comment. Ketan, hello. And Matan, hello. And Martin, hello. There's too many hellos there. But yeah, so just to explain, I'll do this the last time. If you're interested in the incentive, 30 days free coaching for your business, completely no obligation. I will look after your business with you, as in not non-executive, but every day for 30 days for free. 2 winners. You got 24 hours. You got 20 words as to why you should win. Ping it over on my Facebook DM and I'll catch up with you in 24 hours with the 2 winners. Let's finish up with a couple more questions. I think maybe one more. We'll go with Adam Mosley. Is it better to spread your message over many social media platforms as possible, or dedicate your time to a few? This is one of those classic "it depends" questions, but it's really simple. If I was targeting tweenies, right, I'd be on platforms like Musical.ly, right, because that's where they are. I probably wouldn't be on LinkedIn because they're not there. So it would be logical to dedicate time to Musical.ly in that situation. If I'm targeting people who make use of Musical.ly as well as LinkedIn, well, it's logical to target them too. This shouldn't be a decision based on time. This should be a decision based on where your audience is. It's a very similar point. Once I remember someone saying to me about Twitter. He said, "I hate Twitter, Richard. I really don't get on with it. It's really like it's like a necessary evil." But he said, because my audience loves Twitter, I love Twitter. Because if they're there, I need to be there as well. It's absolutely right. If you don't like LinkedIn, but you're trying to target business owners, you need to suck it up and start liking LinkedIn because that's where your audience are. It's the same here. Go all in on all the platforms that are relevant to your audience. Okay? It's as simple as that. And there's no and or here when it comes to dedicating your time to a few. Dedicate yourself to all the platforms that are needed for your business. You can then take a view. Maybe you tried it and you haven't got much traction because the audience is giving you feedback that suggests they're not really bothered by your YouTube channel or something like that. Sure, but probably you should be trying anywhere where your audience might be to a degree. Because if you're not going to get much traction, then you are using up time. I understand it's finite. Perhaps spending time doing leaflet drops isn't the best use of your time. You might get someone, but probably it's not worth it. So I get that. But, think hard about it. Don't omit social platforms because you don't have the time. You need to hack away at how you do find the time. Often it's something like this, repurpose the content. If you think about it, in 1 hour, I'm creating content for Instagram, for Facebook, for YouTube as well. And then I'll be downloaded to the MP3 to create the podcast. Okay. Anna's just put a great comment here. 100% sure that's common sense. You would think, Anna, it is, but you know, it's a mistake that people still make. Oh, I don't have time, so I won't do it. I won't go on Snapchat because I don't have time because I'm doing Instagram. No, go to where the people are. I won't do LinkedIn. This is the worst one. This is the most current one right now. And you don't have to thumbs up if this is you, but it may well be. The most current one right now is I'm not doing anything on LinkedIn because I haven't done anything on LinkedIn. That's it. I haven't done anything on LinkedIn because it's just not something I do. Well, then you're losing right now. You need to keep up. And yes, it's hard. And yes, it's annoying when there are new platforms and things like that. And look, in August this year, whatever it is, when V2 launches, which is like the second coming of Vine, if you remember that from a few years back, you know, that will be another one we should all check out. But if you want to win, you have to be where your customers are, or make peace with losing or not doing as well as you might. Simple as that, really. So yeah, Anna's written, show up, gain the following, then people will follow you wherever you go because they're invested in you. Absolutely. What I find has worked really well is by working across a number of platforms and cross-pollinating very carefully, because the content is often needs to be slightly different on each platform. It's been really successful because people from Instagram have flowed to Facebook. I've had people from LinkedIn who jumped into my Facebook group, for instance, people out of Facebook who've hooked up and subscribed to the YouTube channel. So all of these things are worth doing. I just think it's important you understand that you decide to or not to work with a platform based on the right reasons. That should really be because you don't believe your audience is there and therefore you won't get traction, rather than, oh, I don't have time. I'm not accusing you of that, Adam, necessarily, but that's often the case, okay? I think we'll draw a line there unless anyone has any other questions. Thank you, everyone. So thank you to Daniel, Emerald, Nadine, Hamza, Jesper, Shay, Shani, and Adam. And thank you to, wow, all of you guys for jumping in, so many. That was episode 95. I'm really excited about things coming up soon. Thank you to everyone who wished me well for Forbes last week. That was a real win for me. I really enjoyed sharing that and being in Forbes. Thanks, a big shout out to Ron Malhotra from the Successful Mail, who interviewed me this morning. That'll be a podcast released in about 3 weeks' time. And if you're not connected with me on LinkedIn, please, this is the platform I want you guys to jump into. If you're not already in 2018, join me. So linkedin.com/Richard James Moore. Say hello, come and connect with me. There's so much going on there right now. It's absolutely popping. Just to give you an idea, the post I sent out yesterday is getting it's getting like 500 different views an hour now. It's, I think, last checked before this, it was like 14,000 views of it. I mean, it's ridiculous. And that was just a long copy post. So there's so much going on there. Make sure you jump in on those platforms as well. And one day in the future, I'm sure we'll have live on LinkedIn as well. But in the meantime, send me the DM if you want in on the incentive. 20 words. You have 24 hours. DM me on Facebook, so richardmoore.official, why you should win the incentive. And it's 30 days, completely free consulting. I charge thousands of pounds of this normally to companies. If you feel like you'd like to try it out, then give it a punt. There's no obligation. And I'd love to see the answers and see whether or not we can work together. As I've said in the past, there's been a company that went so well. I loved the company so much. I actually ended up putting some investment in it, and we did really well as a result. So you never know what might happen. But in the meantime, thanks so much. I'm going to sign off with YouTube. And thanks very much to everyone